Welcome to Aalborg and this conference on PhD career paths outside academia that focuses on entrepreneurship and employability for young researchers, and that aims to show and discuss the diverse career paths of PhDs based on presentations of, for example, research, PhD alumni stories of their career paths, and employers' stories of how PhDs bring value to their organization. It's now my pleasure to introduce the director of AAU Innovation, Søren Damgaard. In line with this conference, Søren is a living example of a PhD developing a career outside of academia. Søren holds a PhD in physics and mathematics from Aarhus University. And since his graduation in 1981, he's worked at, for example, CERN in Switzerland and many years at IBM. So please give a hand to Søren.
Thank you, and thanks for inviting me. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today with all this talent in a room where I understand we are close to 200 people. So talking to a group of 200 talented people makes me very, very happy to be able to be part of such an event here today. The background that I have is PhD. I'll come back to some of the lessons learned that I have had during my career around PhD. I can't help giving you some tough advice, but also I would like to say what's my focus in my new job here in Aalborg as Innovation Director. In essence, what Aalborg is famous about is making collaboration with the outside community, industry and organizations outside university. And what is very, very important is to realize that collaboration comes with people, it comes with people involved, it comes with knowledge, it comes with people helping, you can say, the outside communities, understanding what's the forefront of research, but also what is really the abilities that you can bring as a talented group of people to help, let's say, growth in society in various ways. It can be in growing jobs, it can be in various dimensions. So my job is to see if I can take the learnings that I've had from more than 30 years in industry, collaborating with universities around the globe, and always being on the side of the table saying, I wish universities could do this, could understand that, could do this and that. And now I've taken you can say, the challenge up and proving it myself. And if I can bring, you can say, that experience back to university and see if I can encourage and help facilitate greater cooperation for the benefit of society in general. And you may think that since my background is mathematics and physics, that's the only focus I have. I would say that's the only focus that I couldn't use in my job in the previous 30 years. And I'm saying that on purpose. And that's also, when I had to prepare the speech for today, I said, what if I were to give some advice on what to do with a PhD, what would that be? Taking myself as an example, but also the people I've met across the globe who holds a PhD or who has come from university. And you may not like what I'm telling you now in 5 to 6 points, but it's meant in a positive atmosphere. First of all, the first positive thing is that being a PhD, you have proven that you can accomplish an academic degree at a level which probably puts you in top 1 to 5% in academia amongst your peers. That is a comforting feeling, but it's also a dangerous feeling, and I'll come back to why in a few seconds. The second observation I have for you is that you have proven to yourself and your peers that you are fit for a research career. However, there may or may not be openings at university or research institutions where you can fit in. And that's tough luck if you meet that, or if you encourage, or if you are in such a situation. But that tough luck can be turned into a good opportunity if you start thinking in the right way. The third observation is you may or may not yet have proven that you are fit for a job outside a university. And that's a deeper sentence than just at the surface. If you have a plan B, not being at a university, it may be good, but it also depends on what your plan B is. What I'm trying to say here is that if you have for many years now been in a university and you don't have a plan B, I would encourage you pretty quickly to think about what you can do if you are not in a university environment. The fourth point that I have is that you may or may not yet realize that you are not necessarily first pick for an outside university career. First of all, you may be 3 to 4 to 5 years older than the people you're competing with. And that means that you are already by age may be disadvantaged. And that's a tough thing to realize when you start looking at outside opportunities. And my advice would be humble. Be humble when you start realizing that that's a fact of life and there's nothing you can do about it. The fifth point, you may or may not think that of course you can outsmart any contender. I have always, in my career, known that I could outsmart people if I had time enough. But the problem is this may not be the only measure that you get a job on. But you may be surprised that it's not those merits alone that give you an advantage from outside for outside jobs. It may be so, but it may also require that you prove yourself in other merits. And that's where the positive thing comes in. If you realize that you have the background and that you can, if you put in enough hard work, that you can outsmart people. Be humble until you prove that you can outsmart people. You may think that the outside world is unfair and that the only thing that counts is what you've learned at university level. But think about it in another way. If you look at it from a society point of view, the fact that there's other means to determine whether people are fit for a job, you have proven that you have been among the top 1 to 5%, as I mentioned, but it may not be the same qualifications that are useful for the outside community. And that's what I call the tough realization. The sixth one, and let me stop by once I've mentioned that in a university you know the rules, you know that you have to publish, and the more the better. And being first author is better than being one by many in a larger team. However, once you get outside university, you realize that is really what is hampering you from learning how to work in teams and work in collaboration context, where this focus of being first author really takes some time to unlearn in the real world. And unless you find a research organization where to work in, you should better start thinking about how will you compete in an outside community when academia measures are not the only one that can be used. I'm getting the sign now, meaning that I have to close. And what I would like to say in closing is, personally, what I realized after achieving my PhD at the age of 26 years old was that I could get any job. When I turned 30, I realized that I couldn't get an outside job unless I started from beginning. So You may not guess that I chose to work in an IT company where I had to prove that I could sell the toughest quota of anyone, and I didn't know anything about salesmanship. Once I turned that corner with success, I had 30 beautiful years in the IT industry, where later I could use what I learned as a PhD. So with that in closing, I would like to wish you all a very good meeting here, and hope that you will get a lot of good advice from the keynote speakers, etc. So thank you.